Hello, and welcome to episode 34 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. Logan, we'll start with you. What did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I played 2 armory events, all of both of them draft. My normal X1s, not great, but fine. Yesterday played in the last RTN of the season, which was also draft. Started out with the classic draft a great deck, or feel like I draft a great deck. Opened a Marvel Dominia too, so sweet one, like $200 Marvel that I didn't have. Then I promptly go 0-2 in my first 2 matches. 1-2 the pod, and then casually rattle off 4 in a row to sneak in at 8th and then get scooped into the quarters, or scooped into the semis.
Were you the infamous friend from Diggins' tweet?
I was going to say.
Was I?
Diggin tweeted, "Hey, I scooped to a friend in the quarters."
Nope, different friend.
Okay.
So I am now qualified for nationals.
Sick.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Felt good, especially starting 0-2.
Yeah.
And then fighting back. And my first draft deck was significantly better than the other 2. So, and that's the one that 1-2'd, because sometimes that's just how things happen. Mm-hmm. My two of my would be 3 losses on the day were to the eventual winner, which is Griddle Master Taylor, friend of the podcast, patron of FAP, and who was the eventual champion, took home the Icelander, which he then promptly just sold to me. So, but yeah, it was nice to finally get through to a point where I'm now qualified to play in nationals. I plan on being there and plan on having a good time doing so. It was a really cool event. I got the classic listener that I don't know thing, even from an 18-person event in local
Iowa.
And that's always, and that's always fun, where it's just that's like fun. Oh well, it was funny because it was like, I think I recognize your voice. I'm like, oh, you probably saw me on Instant Speed. And he's like, what's Instant Speed? I'm like, interesting. Okay. He's like, do you have a show? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on Flesh and Pod. He's like, I love your show. And I'm like, oh, don't ever point that out to Flake. He doesn't listen to the show, so we'll be fine.
I'm gonna clip this and send it to him.
You probably should. Yeah. But so yeah, that's what I got to. It was it was a lot of fun. Then we went and ate way too much Indian food last night, as is our local tradition after like a premier level event, Flesh and Blood event that's in Des Moines, as we just always go out for Indian food as a group afterwards. So there were 7 of us consuming large amounts of Indian food, an uncomfortable amount of Indian food. So
that's awesome.
That's what I got up to, and it was so one of my better weeks. And also my AC is fixed, so it's now a 70-degree balanced temperature in my house instead of the 94 degrees and we're all gonna die that it was.
Thank God.
Is that what it is outside for you guys right now? Is 94?
It broke. It was 102 yesterday. And so I think it's 85 right now.
You're yesterday Des Moines, right? Like you live in Des Moines. Yeah. In Des Moines, mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So 82, yike. Yeah. What is it here today? It's bad.
It's like 90.
I don't know, man. Everywhere over the country is just fucked.
Yeah, like it was super hot. Yeah, it was super hot, and then we had just like this one. This is typically how it works in Iowa, especially during the summer, where people have like summer rains, which are these nice kind of fun rains. You dance them in and shit. Nah, not in Iowa. In Iowa, it either is dry or a fucking cloud just falls out of the sky immediately upon you. And so that was yesterday, where it was like, this is cool. It's sunny outside. Patty left his car windows down. Everything was because he didn't want to die. We get in our vehicles to go to Indian food and immediately just get destroyed by a torrential downpour, like just right now.
What the hell?
I was like, yep, totally an Iowa thing, which, by the way, Jordan, you can bag on Iowa a little bit. But you and Tommy, you just went hard on Iowa.
Dude, the show notes title on Fresh and Buds was named Ugh-Hio, okay? So, like, I get a little bit of a reprieve for other Midwesterns.
You're absolutely wrong about corn, though. You fucking idiot.
I love corn. It just doesn't go on pizza, man.
Sure shit does. The fucker,
boy.
you don't see. Other places don't know. They just don't have taco pizza. They don't put corn on pizza.
Okay,
They
hold
don't.
on. We have taco pizza. I don't like it, but we do have it here. Now, the corn pizza is corn just a topping, or is it like a Mexican street corn pizza, or is it just like
No, it's
corn?
topping. Yeah, it's
Weird.
but like it's so like there's a place here called Fong's Pizza, which is originally was pizza that's like Asian influenced. So they had like a crab rangoon pizza and like
I would eat that.
a Thai peanut chicken peanut
Mm-hmm.
pizza. But they also do like random. They would make these random just fucked up pizzas too. Like they'd have a Thanksgiving one where like the sauce is gravy, has turkey on it.
Oh, I
That
would
one's pretty nutty.
absolutely
But
eat
they also
that.
do right. But they do one that is called the Iowan, which is barbecued pork, like barbecue sauce, pork, and corn, and it's perfect. There's just no notes. It's incredible. It's like eating at a barbecue on a pizza. It's fucking wonderful.
Interesting.
I'm glad you're happy with it.
No, you're not. You were fucking disappointed, you piece of shit.
No, hey, you can like it. I mean, I'll
You're
question
yucking my yum.
when you tell me we should go eat somewhere next time. I'll be like, man, I gotta Google it myself.
No,
maybe
this motherfucker.
Maybe they sell
all
fucking
right.
crab rangoon pizza, but
all right, Jordan.
If you come to Des Moines sometime, we'll get this worked through.
All right,
can't wait.
Right.
Jordan.
I had quite a bit of flesh and blood, especially compared to my normal loop of things. Did some CC testing in person on Friday before Armory. That was really fun. Didn't end up playing Armory because we had guests come over, but we had about 3 or 4 hours of just like games in and chatting about the new format, which I haven't played a ton of CC at all up until this point. So like, it was actually like really nice to like actually just like see what decks look like and how 5 plays in CC, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But did a lot of revamp on the cube following being on Fresh and Buds, which if you haven't heard that episode on the Fresh and Buds channel with like Tommy Fresh, that was a fun thing. We talked about a lot of different stuff. But
I'd also like to point out that I have no qualms telling Jordan he sucks whenever something sucks. That was a fucking banger. Like that episode was awesome.
Thanks. Yeah,
so,
thank you. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Good job.
Thanks. We had fun, and Tommy and I are both major cube enthusiasts, so we got to chat about cube theory, which was great, which inspired me to immediately like revamp my cube, and I did, and then we actually got to draft it on Saturday. Yeah, it was cool. We scheduled it. We ended up only drafting 6. We had 8 scheduled, but one person got sick, and like in the world of like post COVID, like there's no sense in messing with that. So we drafted it with 6. It was really good. It's down to 360 cards now, like flat, which is where it should have been the whole time. But you know, hey,
3 heroes.
Yeah, 3 heroes. We cut Katsu, so now it's just Viserai, Bravo, Showstopper, and Dorinthia. I always forget Dorinthia. Yeah. So does LSS, I guess. But
no, they forget Rhinar.
They forget Rhinar and Azalea. Yeah, they don't forget. They
don't forget Dory.
But that was really fun. We did an equipment draft in between each pack, like a face-up, like
how'd that work?
Rochester equipment draft. You know, we got some good feedback. It was fun, but also like there was definitely some. It's a little bit more nuanced than like a special land draft in Magic, because like in this, it's way easier to hate draft. Like if a guy takes Blood Cheese Scalata, you probably should just take Spellbound Creepers and like Aether Iron Weave and like all the other equipment from him, right?
Well, sure, yeah.
And then you know, hey, I actually can't pass this Rosetta Thorn or whatever in pack 2 because like this guy's going to take it, and so I need to hate draft probably the best card in the cube, and like, so there was some suggestions to either maybe do like a private like 2 packs of 3 equipment draft, because there's enough equipment for 6 people in an 8-person draft. So like 2 packs of 3 in between the second and third pack maybe would be kind of fun. Or maybe they should just go in the cube and find 48 cuts, or find more cuts than that, and cut a lot of equipment. You know, that could be find 24 cuts. I don't know. That's some more theory to work on, but we got a lot of good feedback and data on that. And yeah, that was my week of Flesh and Blood. Definitely a little bit busier for Flesh and Blood, like the actual playing part.
Yeah.
I would love to make cube a regular part of my like at least monthly cycle, because I like doing it and I like talking about it. But that's it for me, Ab.
We drafted the cube. Jordan talked about it a little bit. I also went to Jordan and told him that I would like to make a cube of the 3 worst heroes.
Oh,
Because
this
I
is
think that would be,
badass. Let's go.
I think that would be so fun to play because no one wants to play them, right? Because they're bad, right? Like that's the
Oh
there's
yeah,
very few
they're
people that
awful.
go out. But if you make a cube with it, then everybody has to play. I think that would be really fun. So
So
that's
like,
my new idea.
what was so? How would say? Will you keep? So who would that be? Because it'd be like Cavdane and.
So we were thinking based on Living Legend leaderboard for CC. But
Oh,
maybe
okay.
not. But maybe not, because like you're right, Cavdine. But like I don't know if there are enough cards to just like support Cavdine, who has no class
Right.
cards.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No,
it's
my
gonna be like
first
Azalea at a base.
my first 2 thoughts were Azalea and Datadol. And then we
Yeah.
find a third.
Okay. Azalea,
Cavdine makes
Datadon.
sense.
Yeah, but you're right that you really just don't have like class cards for him, though. I mean,
Yeah, there are no right like.
It's just kind of shit.
Yeah.
And Levia's actually like kind of good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she would like be way head and shoulders above all of those guys. Yeah. So just
What
like
would
looking
be
at the Living Legend table, like
feed me some dog shit?
Reinar or
No, Reinhar's too good.
Too good.
KO. KO's
KO,
too good.
KO's
Guinness.
too. Yeah,
Guinness
doesn't do
same problem
anything.
as Guinness same problem as Cavdin too. Volta Brightaxe. I'm just looking at the.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Living Legend leaderboard. Where like, Benji's too good.
Oh yeah, Benji's way too good.
And that's the next lowest.
Oh wow.
KO, Azalea, and Datadol all have 0.
So maybe it is KO. Maybe like you roll the dice, and see what happens.
Yeah, I think KO is definitely the best of those 3 and probably wins most cubes. But also, like, if the one Azalea player gets all of the arrows and stuff, then like their deck is going to be sweet.
You did see the bounty put out by Outcast Haven, right?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Twitter.
First person to get match Living Legend.
Yep. Shout outs to our friends at Outcast Haven, Dane and Jason and Cody and all the other folks over there. Blake, they put out a bounty, letting people donate cards to the bounty, and the bounty goes to the first person that gets Azalea Living Legend points. I offered up a Cold Foil Corsham, so an unplayable card for an unplayable hero, and but I did specify that it has to be Azalea Ace in the hole. It has to be adult Living Legend for me to give that away. You could just high roll Azalea a little too easy in like a Blitz construct. I feel if somebody really wanted to go for the bounty, but to do it in CC, man, that's a lot. Like that's just fucking. My hat's off, and my card is yours at that point. Like you did it, but I feel like I just own this Corsham forever now. I can never get rid of it, just in case somebody actually does it. But I'll just always own it because never gonna happen. Unless Az just figures it out. Az might know a thing, and then obviously I'd have to ship a fucking card overseas yet again. But
this one you'd have to get tracking on because it's a little bit pricier than.
Yeah, well, I mean it's Corsham. I could send it for $1.30. It'd be fine.
But yeah, so
I'm a madman. We know that.
I now want to make a second cube, and that's what I want to do. So
I like this cube idea. I think this is a very fun idea. So then you can even have like a cube open or cube invitational. If we can figure out a third cube, it would be, the first cube, the second cube, and then top 8 drafts the third cube, or then like you redraft the third cube.
Yeah, I think there's like we talked about this on Tommy's show, and we might actually end up making a cube podcast, like a monthly or something.
Yeah, cube cast.
Yeah, and there are a lot of different things you can do with cube, and we're getting really close. Like an elemental cube, or you could just go like a Runeblade cube. There's enough for a Guardian cube, probably.
And do a Warrior cube.
You do a Warrior cube. We're pretty close to that, like to that level of things to do.
Can you do a Brick cube?
Yeah, you could do your Brute cube as well. he had a really good idea about having like an elemental cube where you have like a young version of Bravo, star of the show, as kind of like the, hey, I didn't make a good deck in any of the other heroes. Here's this one that like lets me like play the cards I got at least, and I like that. So there's a lot of stuff. Not a cube cast, but
I mean, well, you can have your own cube cast.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna make.
That'll be fine. It's just like, I don't know, like I do find cube interesting, but I think I pointed this out on our Discord or whatever, and somebody asked me, basically accused me of not being a good friend.
See that?
I'm like, fuck off, man. That I just have done. There's too many blows to the head and alcoholic beverages for me to think in depth like that anymore to like do cube theory. But I will play cube all fucking day.
Yeah, I could definitely see myself like when we get to the point where there are hard cuts to make, it's going to be very challenging. And it could be to the point where I get a cube in a good place and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to update this anymore. This just like is the cube until like a very obvious update happens, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
I think that's a good spot to be in, though. Yeah, I think that's a good spot to be in, though. Fun is fun,
for sure, right? And we're gonna get there eventually. We're definitely not there yet until we figure out the way the equipment's gonna be handled, but we're getting there. Anyway,
yeah, we are getting there.
I mean, take up Abby's time, but.
Just like we're getting into the news for the week. Okay, first up, Phi takes down Calling Utrecht. Okay, now do we have the day 1 metagame? Because the picture I have is only day 2. Does everybody have that handy?
It was
so
a lot of 5, if I remember.
Every hero was represented on day 1, all of them, including Azalea, and Phi was the most represented hero, followed by Viserai and Briar. I don't have that graph in front of me, but I remember seeing it where the top 3 were pretty evenly split. It was like 40-ish Phi, 30-ish of Viserai and Briar.
Very aggro meta is what it looked like.
Yes.
Okay, so then day 2, we have 13 Viserai, 12 Phi, 11 Prism, 10 Briar, 6 Bravo, 4 Oldham, 3 Dory, 2 Dromai. Jesus. I'm like looking at her like, oh, it starts with a D. And then 1 Sir Bolton, 1 Icelander, and 1 Levia. Sorry about that.
Okay. Like, and I know that the Bravos were, in a lot of instances that I saw with other results from RTNs and stuff like that, the Bravos were actually putting up hell of a fight.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is if they don't run into Prism, they're like in good shape.
Yep. They are. I mean, you can still get super high rolled by any of those other decks. Like you could just get high rolled to Oblivion by Viserai, Phi, or Briar. That'll happen. But if you're just able to like get to a point where you get to play your game as Bravo against those decks, you're probably favored. It's just a matter of getting to the point that you get to play your game specifically. I think that's how they're fighting so well. I saw that Teeth of Bow definitely went that 5-0 through the RTN with Bravo, and then I think eventually lost to Phi, but after beating Phi at least twice in the Swiss. So it's like, again, you could just get high rolled, but at the same time, if you're looking for consistency of like a deck that can fight through it, it might just be Bravo.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, and I like that because I don't think we've ever seen like a Bravo summer, like a showstopper summer.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, a showstopper.
Motherfucker, we've definitely seen a lot of Bravo in our life.
I really didn't mean that. I
know that you're a giant Bravo stan, but like, fuck, man. Like,
yeah, it is the best hero. But no, I didn't mean it. Like, yeah. So when I started playing, I played a lot of Bravo Showstopper.
Yeah.
And I ran into like we had the Go Wide Katsus and then Prisms in our local meta, so I never really did well. And like I still don't do well because they're better than me, but that was different. Like that was what I could blame anyway. Was that
you were starting off a little bit hampered already, and then also you were not necessarily as good as your competition, and you're not going to win.
Yeah, Central Ohio has some really good banger, like some banger players that play like that love Prism and love like their Katsu decks. But
yeah,
anyway, that's not my point. Only to say that like I would like a world where like Bravo Showstopper is good. I don't think Dominate is like a very fun mechanic to interact with, to be completely honest. So like maybe I'm a little worried about that. In terms of like heroes like that are really good.
Can I disagree with you there?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't
think I have to give you permission. I think it's a static thing, whether you disagree or not.
Well, okay. Can I vocalize my disagreement, please, sir? Considering I'm worried about getting fucking fired off this podcast, since apparently I'm going to get crushed by a 2/3 vote. But I feel like Dominate's fine. Mainly because if you know a hero has got Dominate on tap, Dominate on a stick, Dominate in their pants, however this fucking works with Bravo, you know that it's a thing, and so you can plan around it. And I think it makes for more intricate gameplay, especially from the defending player, when you know that, like, okay, I could get dominated out of this. I need to make sure that I have a D-React in Arsenal to play through this or play around this. I think that actually is kind of an interesting interaction in a game that is somewhat lacking in interaction, of playing a little bit of a second level type of game, like with your opponent, what they might be doing. So I'm okay with Dominate. I think it's better than Intimidate, which is just you don't get to do anything. But it's kind of hard to play around Intimidate. Don't know if you fucking knew that.
Intimidate's a weird one. Intimidate's also like equally as unfun on the other side, where like my attacks don't necessarily, they might do a bunch of raw damage, but they don't like impact your next turn because they can't, right? Like you're not allowed to like make the mistake of blocking or not blocking, the decision's made for you. Anyway, there's a lot of problems with Intimidate.
And like Brute's attacks only have one on-hit trigger, which is you die, which is a pretty good on-hit. But
above average, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's at least above average, but they only have the one. So CNC is technically a Brute card, I guess, and it has an on-hit. But yeah, I think Dominate's fine.
That's fair. I can definitely respect that. Like, I like a Flesh and Blood world where it's an aggressive meta, to be completely honest.
Well, then you love this one.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if I want to live in a fab world where like Oldhim is like Oldhim and then decks like either slower or fast, like slightly faster than Oldhim are there. I don't know if that sounds fun. But like I also could be in the minority of that, and maybe we just need to change of pace because we've been in a fast game for a little bit now. Since Everfest, we've definitely been in a fast world, and before that, I guess we had Briar, and then before that was Chain. So maybe the game is just fast.
I think the game, yeah, but there's I think the problem we're going to run into, and I tend to agree with some of our Prism stands, such as Dalen and Mara, in that we're definitely going to be in a fuck around and find out spot with Prism and how much of a check Prism is on the game, because we're going to lose Prism, and when we lose Prism, we might be up shit creek, because now everything that Prism's kind of been holding back runs rampant, and those are things that have very high ceilings of just raw output and misery. So like Oldhim, right? So I do have concerns about the post Prism world, but it's nice to know that at least Fi can fight through the Guardians as well. So we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting, but we'll see. Dynasty is going to make a very interesting change to how everything works, I think.
Yeah, what Dynasty does will matter a lot, obviously. We don't have that there's not that many heroes in the game total, right? There's 17, I think, total heroes that aren't Living Legend out. We could be seeing one or two hit the Living Legend by the end of this season. I think it's just Prism that's actually on the watch block, so maybe just one.
It depends on if Viserai ends up being the aggressive check to Fi.
Yeah, okay, sure. Without Prism, I think you're right that like decks like Bravo, decks like Oldhim, decks like Levia, maybe, I don't know, go nuts and we're in trouble. But I'm not really sure like what they do about that at that point. I think you have to just let it go, because like you can't.
I think they priced themselves into that.
Yeah,
and that's honestly the answer, is that you let it go because you fucking have to. It's just, you're kind of, like I said, you're just kind of priced into that's how things are. What are you going to do?
Are you worried about Fi's power level heading into the thing?
No.
I mean, I worry a little bit in the sense of like it did have a good national season. It's had a good Calling Utrecht season. It's very easy to play. It's very accessible to play. It's an extremely cheap deck. It's just like a good draft deck, really.
Right, and I think that a good Kano player would just destroy it. They're just okay, cool.
No, this is true.
Nice cards. Here's 40.
Yeah.
And I guess that does just depend on like what we're talking about to a large degree of what the meta looks like. Is Kano able to just do that? And that's true against like things like Bravo and stuff like that as well. It's like Kano, you spent 2 cards to attack me for 6. Like, well, here's 25.
Cool story, bro. Or in the case of Fi, it's like you have 0 AB.
Yeah, I play actual
a bunch of reds and 0 AB.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like fun. I'm just gonna keep working my pitch stack here until it's 40, and then kill you. And then there's also just a spot where Lexi just does her thing, and here's a bunch of frostbites. Can you do anything about it? And a red line deck sometimes just cries. What are you gonna do?
That's right.
Which is interesting because the Fi into Icelander isn't super. Icelander you'd think would be like the frostbites would interact with Fi, but they just don't. It is. Fi has a pretty good time unless you get behind like a couple of channel leaks that stick around.
She just I think with Icelander the problem is just the raw on-demand fast frostbite generation is not the same as like Alexi, where Alexi can, make a frostbite, fuse something to make frostbites on hit plus discards on hit, and then then now you're priced into blocking, and it just has the raw damage output to start racing you a little bit too.
As opposed to you make 1 frostbite and do no damage with Icelander.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a long rabbit hole into the current meta, but we don't talk about meta a lot on this show.
We don't. We're not a meta cast. We're more of a drink beer and talk shit cast, I guess.
That's right.
Sure.
So let's get into that. LSS is partnering with PCG for prize grading cards. Their premier grading is there. And
now I'm going to talk shit about PCG. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice segue. Nice segue. No, it's not that weird. Like, honestly.
I guess it's a domestic company.
Mm-hmm.
Like with a domestic company. Sorry, Abby, what were you saying?
So, if you haven't seen the news, LSS is partnering with them, starting at the Calling Singapore and going forward. All gold cold foil prize cards will be.
Is that a Yinzer thing? Singapore?
Graded.
Right, go ahead.
Okay. By all means, you guys can take over now.
Nope, we're good.
Oh, good. Finish it. Sorry.
Okay. All of the gold cold foil prize cards will be raw graded at 9+, and then Calling Championship prize cards and Pro Tour Championship prize cards will be a 9.5 or better. They do point out that some upcoming Battle Hardens will not have this because the materials will not get there in time for those events, but starting in Singapore, that will be the standard going forward.
Yeah, this is like we alluded to. It's not that interesting that they chose PCG because it is a New Zealand-based company, and so is LSS. I don't know about the value of a graded card from a company that doesn't have like ubiquitous trust. We've actually talked a lot about card grading on this show in the past couple of weeks, where trust with the company is everything. Their established nature in the industry is everything. PCG just like isn't there yet. Matt Rogers is an established pro for Flesh and Blood, very good card player, very good ambassador of Flesh and Blood to a large degree. So that's fine. It's just you're going to take this 9 and maybe you say, hey, I'm going to go get it graded by Beckett, and it comes out at like a 7.5 or something,
Yep. That's the real concern. Yeah, that's the real concern. And then honestly, there's chain of custody issues when it said it was a 9 when PCG handed it over to whoever is going to send it to wherever. Those cards aren't no longer being touched or handled or moved around or anything else. So there's chain of custody issues. So unless they're just literally being the 9.5s are different because those are going to be slabbed and sent. But raw are not. Like they'll be put in something. But again, there's still chain of custody involved. So like, I don't particularly like PCG's label, and I'm really like the worst when it comes to like the aesthetic of a label. I think Beckett still has the best label in cards, and so that's kind of what I'd gone for in general. It's really hard to crack any graded 9.5 anything to have it regraded. So these are probably going to stay in PCG holders for their entire lives.
Yeah,
and that's cool. That's fine. I really hope that I'm not rooting against PCG. I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear that I do not have any skin in the game for the success of anybody in this instance. And I hope PCG sticks around, because I honestly would love to move on from PSA, specifically in the trading card space. I don't think their labels are particularly good. I have numerous examples from others and that I've witnessed of fake cards being graded by PSA, which is always the cringiest of cringe moments. So at that point, I that's obviously, these are not going to be fake. They're coming from LSS straight to PCG, so don't have to worry about that part. And then, hopefully their grading becomes a little more trusted and these things retain a certain amount of value. But as of right now, to me it's meaningless. It doesn't do anything outside of giving you kind of a cooler storage solution for the card you may receive.
Yeah, and to be clear, when we say trust, we don't mean like we think people are shady or whatever. We just mean like industry trust towards like, do they do a good job? Is it respected amongst peers? Like, can you go to a vendor that isn't in the LSS space, or I'm sorry, in the Fab TCG space, and this label carry weight? Because if you just want to like take your card to other like Fab TCG vendors, these are probably fine, right? Like, people will buy them at the crazy rate that they're currently buying gold foils. Like, it's fine. But like, if you take this to like a trade show or like, outside the industry, right? So non-endemic vendors, they're gonna go, who the hell is PCG,
right?
Like you said, at least the Pro Tour and the Calling Champion cards are going to be fully graded. You're going to get it slabbed. You're going to get it with the micro grades. Those are only as good as the company grading them, but at least it's better than like, here's a top loader with a sticker over it,
right?
Which is what we're getting to. So there's like so much like questions about abuse and like,
like I said, chain of custody issues.
Chain of custody is a big one. Yeah, just like, I don't know.
And anybody that wants to learn a little bit more about card grading, what goes into it, and the variety of different ways that companies look at these cards, just let me know, because I'm more than happy to talk about it. I've been through card grading academies through CGC. I know at least they look at, and they gave some insights as to what some of the other companies look at and how they look at them, and then how the grading exists as far as the numerical grades and what can be what. So if you ever are curious, let me know. But a lot of this comes down to processes too. We don't know PCG's process as far as I know. And if it's, if their standards are the same as everybody else's, or if they're slightly better, slightly worse in certain areas, we just don't have enough information over a long enough timeline to know if these matter or not. And so right now it's just, again, it's especially for the 9s, it's kind of meaningless.
Yeah. And to be clear, I guess that doesn't mean there's a downside. It just means that like, it's not really an upside.
Right.
It's a cool thing that I hope actually has some juice in the future. Like, I hope it works out, but right now, like, you're just getting a top loader with a cool sticker.
Yeah, and the promotion point for PCG is obviously like awesome for that company to just be, because like somebody's gonna get a 9 and a top loader and be like, oh, just ship this thing fucking immediately and get it graded. To see if it's a 9, a 9.5, or a 10. It could be any of these. So
is PCG grading them for free? The ones that you get from
I would highly doubt it.
Okay. They actually have some like good pricing deals going on right now on their website, like, and free subgrades on all cards, which is kind of cool. Even like the lower tier, which is neat. But with how backed up everybody, like all of the big players are, man, like
it's insane.
You're gonna get this card. You win your battle hardened tomorrow, or you're gonna get this card back in like 2 years from now.
I don't. Yeah, if you send it to Beckett, unless you pay for a like concierge service, you're just it's gonna take for fucking ever.
Then again, with the value that these like say they are, Beckett might prioritize it. Like,
Well, you have to pay for that no matter what.
Pay the premium, right? Or right,
Yeah.
but they'll at least accept that payment because they like if I wanted to send them like a cracked bauble, they're not going to like accept the premium for it.
No.
You know. So, but anyway, this is kind of one of those like, oh, that'd be neat news if it were news.
Yeah, if you find an autographed Epirixi card to send in, they may.
Oh wow.
They may at that point give that the treatment.
My
Good luck with that, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'll have to do Reds Hall of Fame watch at the end of the shows.
You're fucked.
Yeah. And then finally, as a reminder, signups close for the Content Creator Fantasy Draft on the 31st. Jordan, how many people do we have?
You better make me happy or I'm going to go on a fucking rant.
We're over 100.
Okay,
so
that's a start.
Some of you guys listened, some of you people listened, which is very nice.
How many people listened?
105, so we gained 7 over the past week. No, listen.
That was 11. It was 94.
God. Okay. All right, still not enough.
That's still fucking unacceptable.
Unacceptable, guys.
Why are we begging for this? Why don't you just want to win?
Why the fuck do we work so hard for this?
Like, yeah, like, your mother and I, we work really hard to put food on this table for you, okay? You should respond, that's what you're supposed to do, Mom. That's a weird thing to brag about.
Wow. Holy
that's
shit.
That's toxic for you to impose your parental responsibilities on me.
We were raised different. So,
oh, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I'm a coward. Yeah, no.
No, you say that to my mom, it's 5 across the fucking eyes. So come on, guys. This is free shit, right?
Yeah.
It takes 30 seconds and we're not asking for much here. We give this to you from the goodness of our hearts on a weekly
Sweat
basis.
on my brow. Sweat on my brow.
34 weeks, never missed an episode. 34 straight weeks. We have brought this show, the sauce. We have brought this stream of perfection to your fucking earballs for 34 straight weeks.
This
least
media
you can
empire has stood the test of time. Okay.
The least you could do is just take 30 seconds to fill out a fucking Google Doc, check Abby or my name.
To win free shit. It's not even like it costs you anything.
Shit. Come the fuck on.
Come on.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Not better than that.
Be
better
than that.
Just.
I don't care if you have a forearms train or not. That better than that.
This is the last time you're going to hear about it. Please go do it. It's honestly it's 5 seconds. We would appreciate it. You're going to get a chance to win free stuff. I don't know why we have to convince you, but here we are making the case again. So just go do it.
You're going to show up at like a fat meetup and I'm going to be like, this round's on me, and I'm going to know who you are and say, except for that motherfucker right there. Because that motherfucker right there did not sign up
every turn
for free shit.
Time, I'm going to carry this spreadsheet around with me. And before you come talk to me in the event, oh, hey, Jordan, I'm actually going to carry the list around for dramatic effect. Yeah, hey, Jordan, I really like the show. And I'm going to go, what's your name? And you're going to tell me. And then I'm going to look at the spreadsheet before I say another word to you. If your name's on the spreadsheet, I'm going to go, get away from me, bad fapper, and run away.
Get away from me, bad fapper.
Yep. Bad fapper, no fapping, and then run away.
How the fuck is that even possible? We don't have any bad fappers.
I don't know.
Oh no, that part too, yeah. But
right,
I'm old, fat, and I have rickety knees. Like, this fucking isn't happening. I don't run.
Okay, that got weird. So again, please just go sign up.
Did it?
It's your last chance. Sign up ends on the 31st. If
I can't let you do it after the 31st.
You're square, so just go do it.
Called you square.
That's right.
We don't use the S word on this fucking show lightly.
Oh,
so
yeah. Wow. Wow.
That's an L7 right there. You can't.
There's our piece. All right, Logan, are you ready for the best segment?
Fucking God. Fucking fuck. Yeah, I guess.
You blame Jeffo for this one, actually.
I don't want to blame Jeffo because he's a superior human.
Hey. It's a 2-beer show.
Sorry for your ears if you are on headphones.
It is also time for our Reddit thread of the week. So this was posted by Dark Tower Seeker. Title is What Would We Change About Flesh and Blood If We Could? And it says, I'm writing a paper on game mechanics and wanted to talk about Fab for it. There's a lot to love about the game from game design standpoint. What part would you change if you could? Nothing doesn't help me a ton, but anything from energy to how combat works would be useful. Thank you.
So we talked about this last week, and listener Jeffo pointed out that this was like on point Reddit thread, and it had some different stuff in here.
There's like 101 comments.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. This was a big one, and I think Reddit might have died actually. So, don't refresh the page, Abby. But one of the big things I took away from this was better equipment at lower rarities, and I think we're seeing that more. Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is good, but an equipment like Tiger Stripe Shuko really could have just been like a Majestic. You know, it's good. It has play in the Phi deck. You're going to play it in a lot of matchups.
Ghostly Touch could have been.
Yeah, Ghostly Touch could have been. Maybe even Illuvian Constellation, or Constella, or whatever.
I think Coronet Peak is actually right at the line of where it probably should be legendary. But
yes. Like if they wanted to be generous, they can make it Majestic. If they wanted to like preserve some legendaries for the set, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So I'm a little, I think they're doing better about that, but there's also room to go. And I liked that comment a lot.
Yep. Lots of living legend complaints.
Yeah, that was interesting to me.
That's weird to me.
I think that's just like the other half of the conversation, like getting some spotlight. I don't know. Does anyone still want to be living in a Bravo world?
I think obviously you, but I think there's this separation that exists with people who have played other TCGs and people who this is their first. And they're not used to the buy into a thing and get crushed when your thing no longer is, you can no longer play your thing. I think that's some of the frustration. And then some of the other frustration is just simply it's too easy to Living Legend something out. You look at cards like Channel the Bleak Expanse. In a Bravo world, that's a fucking card.
Yep.
So is Hypothermia. But we never know if it would have made a difference or not because Bravo was gone before those cards were ever in. So maybe it needs to be a 1,500 instead of 1,000 or whatever it is. Maybe it just needs to be a little bit better. But I wouldn't consider that a game mechanic, would you?
No, I don't think that. Yeah, this Reddit post isn't exactly on the point that we discussed about because this is about like game mechanics from like a game design perspective. But like in the vein of what we talked about, I think Living Legend is I guess it could be a game mechanic, right? Like what cards are legal is a game mechanic if you want to stretch the def. I don't think it's in the spirit of the question.
No, it's not.
I imagine if you could have Channel the Bleak Expanse against Bravo, or for like to shut off Awakening, or like Hypothermia to as Bravo, like as a sideboard tech against Chain.
Raise Face against Bravo.
Raise Face against Bravo is a good one. Yeah, that's actually wow. Yeah,
you go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you don't have talented cards.
Talents.
I wonder if people's perspective will change once there is a format to still use their pet decks in. Like if you're a Prism stan, and we all know a bunch.
We do.
God rest their souls, and you're gonna be upset when you can't play your hero in your format anymore. If you're a Chain fan, like I like Bravo, right? Like, it's sad to not have a means to use these heroes, especially ones that are adult only, or really only see play in adult. Like a lot of people aren't playing Prism and Blitz, or or I guess Chain you still see in like the 40 card formats, but so I get that frustration, and I wonder if once we see the Living Legend format, the people that don't care so much about meta and like the way that like big tournaments feel will just be like, at least I can play the cards that I like,
right?
So I hope we see that.
Otherwise, like, I don't know, mechanically there's not much mechanically that I see as workable design space. We talked about having pitch for 4. No, please don't.
Yeah, I don't want
no. Maybe you get something that is that is bigger block value that does nothing. Maybe you could go that route. Or if it's blocking a card, if it's blocking a card of X power or greater, the block value changes.
Yeah, I like the that all you got, where like if you blocked a small card, you got a card back. I liked that kind of design space. There's that. I say this is not a game designer, and as we're sitting here talking about how things feel pretty like on the rails and good at the moment, I worry about design space over the next 5-10 years. But like I'm also not a game designer, and I wonder that about literally everything I enjoy. So like, how do they keep going from here? I'm the guy that also looks up how like various sports leagues make money, because I assume there's no way,
But they do.
Like, right. Like the IPL is one of the richest sports leagues in the world, and I'm sitting here like, how does the IPL make money?
But as a good example of this is, I think the first comments I made to anybody about this game after playing it for the first time was literally surrounding design space. Yeah. I didn't have any confidence in the design space because it seemed like it was already played out. I mean, I was wrong. They found other areas. They definitely had a plan. And now we're seeing them off of the rails of the original plan doing stuff, and Uprising is pretty fucking successful. I think it's a good set. Phi might seem like a little bit much right now, but it's early, and Phi just is kind of the easiest, powerful thing you can be doing right now.
And it's accessible, right?
It's super accessible.
You do 2 field tournaments, and like you have most of your Phi deck,
right?
And so like,
Briar's a little bit of just kind of scribbling a colored pencil, and I would say that Phi is closer to paint by numbers. But at the same time, it's not playing the decks optimally. It's difficult, like Bravo was.
Phi is more like you give like your 2-year-old like the paint set, and they just like throw it everywhere, and then you're like, that's good job.
It's paint by numbers, because you can paint the wrong numbers, and which is your sequencing, and if you paint the wrong numbers, your picture's fucked. So
I guess to the point that like sequencing is like you play the ones that say go again first most of the time.
It's like there's probably some analogy about a 2-year-old putting cards on a bucket, but
that's right. All right.
One of the comments is, that's all right. I'm good.
Abby's done with you.
No, I was saying final thoughts, so finish it. We have a bunch of
we're deep in the show, and I don't need to keep reading random obscure points down the thing.
Okay, great.
It's a good Reddit thread. It'll be linked in the show notes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7 listener questions this week.
7.
See, I didn't want to read my last Reddit point.
Oh boy. All right. What D&D alignment is each Fab hero? We are on Everfest. So Starvo, Valda, Guinness, Icelander.
Icelander we've done because we did an Uprising.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Done.
Starvo, Gaston-ish?
Gaston-ish without the like, let's go kill the person that I don't understand. Yeah.
All right. I would chaotic good is probably where I'm at with Starvo.
Yeah. I think that's probably where I'm at too. Just kind of like a party guy. He'll do what he wants to do to make the party go.
I feel like Valda is just an ass kicker, like hired gun ass kicker, I guess. I don't have the thing up in front of me. I probably should just put it up in front of me that describes each hero.
Oh yeah, I don't have that either.
Because I'm fucking worthless apparently. But
thank you for turning into Flush and Pod Radio.
Yes.
Use this time to go sign up for the Fantasy Creator Draft.
You motherfuckers, you better do that. Heroes of Fab. Here we go. So I'm going to read you the Valda entry, and you tell me what Valda sounds like to you. Wow. Okay. Under her hero highlights, it says cocky, are we? And I'm going to read this verbatim. It says, so you're the hot shit, are ya? Running your mouth and thinking you got a fistful of fire? She's a fucking yinzer? Cocky patrons and bad manners set Valda off and inevitably end up with the ale house shaking in her seismic wake. Okay. So she's just literally an ass kicker that gets pissed off because people are just being douches.
She alehouses those who disrespect ladies.
Yep.
And all right, yeah. I think is this like just like a chaotic good too?
I think so.
Hey, like I'm gonna fix these problems, and if I gotta beat you up to do it, well, them's the beats.
That's right.
She was raised by the innkeeper and taught how to brew beer. So I'm just gonna call her the spirit animal of the podcast and just move on.
Okay.
And call it good.
All right, Guinness. Here's what we got. There's talk of a kindly old man that roams the breadth of Aria, carrying upon his back treasures from 1,000 lost kingdoms. They call him the roaming bazaar, and what a spectacle he is. A friendly face in unfamiliar lands, a helping hand in your hour of need. His pack overflows with riches both wonderful and strange as he spreads the joy of the Everfest far and wide. Of his past, little is known. Some say he's a swindler who peddles Moloch to the unaware, while others whisper of his mysterious powers that remind them of the provisioners of old. But of his endless backpack, he pulls forth a million trinkets, baubles, potions, and amulets, and all of your questions will melt away as you gawk at the joyful things he brings. So ready your silvers as you shout his name. Guinness got what you need.
Guinness got what you need.
Is Guinness just like a true question mark then, based on that?
Yeah.
Like, that's a really fun way to end this. It's just like this one that's just like...
You call him neutral for the moment, but you never know.
Yeah.
He could be taking you for a ride and just and cleaning you out for nothing, or he could be providing you the thing that you definitely need at the time you need it. Who the fuck knows? But either way, Guinness got what you need.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
All right.
That was a good thing. Thanks, Alan.
That was
that was fun as hell. I loved it. So thank you, Alan, for that. That was fantastic.
All right, question number 2 is from Light Mommy Enthusiast. Uprising Draft, in my opinion, is great. However, recently I've seen some takes that it's terrible, but CC is great. Why do you think there is such a contrasting backlash? Or is it smoke without fire?
This is so for me, if you do anything a bunch in rapid succession, you're going to get bored of it. And I think that's a lot of the backlash for Uprising Draft. I still think it's a very good draft format. I've played a fuck ton of it, and I feel myself getting kind of faded by it, to be honest. But I can recognize it's a draft format as my amount of fun I'm having drafting it is dwindling. So I think the backlash is that people are just, they want to move on from it. Because they've done a ton of them at this point. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's the backlash.
And it's all been competitive, right? For the most part, it's been Road to National season. So like you haven't even just been drafting the box with your buddies to like dick around. It's been either like a competitive event or like we started with the team sealed, right? That was very competitive and like carried that through Road to National season. So
I think the last 6 armories I've done, 5 of them have been Uprising Draft though. Like I think a lot of armories are that too.
Well, I guess I think of armories even in that, like, not stressful because like the results literally don't matter, but like the fun is a little bit less because it is like a sanctioned event and like XP matters, especially like you going into this weekend without your quali, right? Like you need the wins because if I don't get it, I'm trying to top 100. Like, so there's a lot of that. There's something more inherently relaxing about just like in my living room with like 7 friends and cracking a box, right? And I think if you only do it sanctioned in a store where like someone is trying to shark you or like win the tournament for whatever reason, good or bad, like I guess there's no bad reason to want to win a tournament. That's a silly statement. But like sanctioned play is inherently less fun, I think, a lot of the times than like the casual thing, especially in the draft context where it's work. It's like, or it's a grind or whatever. And especially in the context of, hey, I've just done 50 of these. So that's a really inelegant way to say that. I don't mean it to sound like it's a job, but like, I think we're agreeing in that. I just want to make it clear that I think anytime you do competitive stuff, whether it be at the lowest level to the highest level, it does take away.
I think the inversion would also be true if you just had a bunch of CC events and then you were grinding CC, and then you got the breath of fresh air that's draft. You'd think, oh, God, I'm sick of this fucking CC format.
Yep.
Right.
So I think that's it.
I think it comes also to, and this is more specifically just to clarify what I mean, that like anytime you have solved a problem or solved like a thing like draft or like CC, where before the end you know the outcome, it can be very frustrating to see the outcome coming, but you still have to play to the end. And like this draft, as someone pointed out in our Discord, is very on rails. And so like, hey, I'm in my deck. My deck is okay. My deck isn't great. I'm playing against Dromai and I'm Icelander, and my deck isn't stellar. I'm going to play this match because anything can happen. but I'm probably going to lose. Oh, I played the other Droma on the table in the O1 pod. Okay, I'm gonna play this match because I should, but I'm probably gonna lose. And that, like, when you've solved the equation but still have to do the math problem, is like definitely grating.
Yep.
So
I hear that.
right. Yeah.
All right. Question number 3 is from Coriolanus. How do you deal with burnout? My local armory event started off as casual, bring whatever you like, be competitive, but have fun, and now has turned into I must win and will only bring this meta. Events have just become stale and I've lost my desire to show up. I know this is burnout and will eventually pass. In this question, I'm completely disregarding Road to National, Skirmish, ProQuest, Battlehard, and Pro Tour, as those are intended to be truly competitive events.
This generated a lot of good discussion in our listener questions thing. A
Mhm.
lot of people, and to be clear, we clarified the question in the like through people chatting about it, and that it is more attitude of players as opposed to decks. So like, if I mean, I don't know, Logan, you guys do a good job of balancing this out there, and I'm not ingrained enough in our local armory scene to have an opinion, really.
Yeah, we do, and I'm very appreciative of the people we have here, because they definitely are the people that contribute to this. They tend to, where we have had people that always would just bring the best deck no matter what, because they saw like this mass amount of value or whatever in armories. But the rest of the base is kind of always been of the, hey man, like, have a good time, right? We're not here to do any. We're not here to just be in locals to try to brain people or whatever. I think we even go so far as to set up specific testing times for things that are competitive before local events start, right? And those are more intended to be the times that we're doing the intensive testing X against Y and getting real data type of things, versus doing it during an armory or whatever. Whereas, but that's hard to do. That's part of community building, is to kind of foster the one mindset somewhere else other than that armory, which is supposed to be used to draw people in to being part of the community. But it's not easy, and I could easily see if I had to deal with that, which I don't. I'm very thankful that I don't, and a lot of that is because we rotate formats a ton. We don't always just do CC or just do Blitz or just do
That's
draft.
huge, right?
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
So, and then we also have just a Tuesday casual night where it's either like UPF or Commoner or whatever. So here it's a lot of variety helps, as does just kind of the community saying, we're going to do this for the good, for the fun of it. We're doing this because, we'll set aside the time that we need to be competitive when we need to. But up until that point, just where we just want to have a good time and draw people in and make new friends and embrace the ones we have and just fucking jam away. That's kind of how we feel about it. That's kind of how we treat it. And I don't know. I don't know if that would help. I don't know if you're doing a variety of events, but just try other things. And sometimes the hardcore CC crowd will be like, I'm not showing up. Good.
Yeah, that's probably fine, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, I guess. I don't know. And so those other people will just keep playing.
Yeah, one of the things that Teague does very well at Beyond the Board, because Beyond the Board is the closest store to me geographically. So it's like my armory store. Teague, if you're in our Discord, you know Teague. Teague's great. They rotate from the calendar starts on sealed, and then it goes to draft, and then it goes to commoner, and then to blitz, and then to classic constructed. So there is a very linear path for like a new player to like, you can do sealed and draft, and then basically build a commoner deck, and then take that commoner deck and like upgrade it to a blitz deck, and take that blitz deck and upgrade it to a CC deck. And I think that is like super cool that they do that, and like it really does combat that like, people always bring in the S tier like lists, and people will say, hey, you know what? It's a CC tournament this weekend, or there's a calling coming up. I'm going to sit out this, but I'll still be in the room, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. And if you have people that like, let's say your store couldn't fill the seats for a draft night or for a blitz night or whatever, and you have to do CC, I think a couple of things for not just like Corey, but like anybody that's also experiencing this is, one, you have to read the room. Are you in the minority of this? If that's the case, then like
find a new room.
I'm not saying I disagree with you or that you're right or wrong, because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to these things. That sucks. I hope you find somewhere that like what you're looking for is found. And if you're not in the minority, right, if most people are feeling this way, if you talk to your buddies and they're like, yeah, no, this place fucking sucks now, then you need to talk to the A, decision makers, and B, like problem causers, and like have that real like conversation, which is terrifying in 2022. I get it. Like, it's awful, but you got to do it for the sake of like the community at your store. And then there's the nature of like, if someone's just having a bad attitude, like you just got to stop that when it starts. Like, there's a difference between, hey, I'm going to bring my S tier deck that isn't fun for literally anywhere else to play with, but also I'm going to be a dick while I do it. Or I'm going to like try to shark this armory because, like you said, Logan, people see value in it, either because it's free testing partners or they like the cold foils or whatever.
Like to sell the playmats, whatever.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, they see this thing. That stuff, if they just suck as people and they're creating a negative environment because of like their personality and the way they treat others, that's way different, right? And you just gotta like stop that
Nip
now.
that shit now.
Right.
Yeah, hey, you're being inappropriate, or hey, that's rude. You know, it's one thing to make sure people like play the rules of the game at an armory level, but if people are like sharking you at an armory level or being like obsessively strict with newer players at an armory level, like, hey, that's bad for the game for everybody, man. Right. And you'll be hard pressed to have me like defend someone from that seat. So if it's an attitude thing, like attitudes can be discussed and adjusted in the immediate. It probably should be. If it's not an attitude thing and it's just like a deck thing, which Corey mentioned that it was kind of in his particular situation, a very overarching general problem. But if you're listening to this and you're like, well, mine is more of the meta is unfun or whatever, try shifting it. If it's a personality type, try adjusting it. If it's everything, try all of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Or just like live in a great area with great stores. Just be lucky.
Oh yeah, that's actually the better solution. Yeah,
just be lucky.
Yeah, Des Moines is pretty cheap to live. Come on.
Pass for me. All right, question number 4 is from Mitch. I recently read the article Who is the Beatdown. However, Flesh and Blood is the only card game I've played seriously. So in a Flesh and Blood mirror matchup where both decks are running the same archetype, so or Prism, Fatigue Chain, Boost Dash, whatever, how do you recognize who is the Beatdown? Is it a static concept like the general article implied? Or can it change in most / all mirror matchups as the game develops? I'm mainly interested in hearing how that article may or may not apply to Fab.
First of all, I'm really glad you read probably the best piece of writing in TCG history.
Yes.
And it's cool because Mitch is part of the Possum Pack, which is like my testing team. He messaged me this and was like, he doesn't come from a Magic background. And a lot of people that listen to this don't. And so one of the core concept of Who is the Beatdown, if you haven't read it, I'll link it in the show notes for you. Please actually read it. Even if you don't know Magic, there's still some good core concepts. But one of the core concepts of the article is that when you play a match, particularly a mirror match, one of you has to decide who is the aggressive deck, who is going to take the initiative in attacking, and who is going to take the initiative in defending and setting up for later. And if you guess wrong, you will lose. And if you guess correctly, like you're at an advantage. And if both you and your opponent guess correctly, you now play the game on an even foot, right? Mm-hmm. And assessing that is like the skill point that the article tries to teach to develop. And it is hard in Fab when you're reading Magic cards to do that. But in terms of it is kind of a static thing from like the play draw. It is and it isn't, like everything in life. That's a great answer. It is a static thing in that if you're the Beatdown, if I assess that you're the Beatdown and I am the control player in the matchup, and that's the game plan, I need to stick to that game plan, or else I'm kind of in this hodgepodge, what the hell am I doing thing. Kind of like if you decided like I'm going to fatigue my opponent, and in the middle of the game you don't block and you like attack him for 6 and like that's it. You've switched plans and like you probably messed up, right? or you misassessed at the beginning of the game and had been messing up until that point. Now, because Fab is a game that involves attacking to win, there is no like alternative win conditions really. You do have to turn the corner eventually. But in like a matchup, say where you're going to fatigue them, that's when they're out of cards or meaningful attacks, right? I don't play Prism because or a Prism mirrors would make my brain hurt. But so Logan, more specifically into other matchups, do you think I got that right generally? Or and B, what would you say that about the static versus changing and how that article in general applies to Fab?
Yeah, I think that it makes sense. From my interactions with Flesh and Blood, which is I'm right at my year anniversary of playing. This game is more built into every deck is some form or fashion of a tempo deck, and identifying the beatdown is important because that lets you identify when you get to take tempo back. Because when you're the beatdown, you're trying to take tempo, maintain tempo until your opponent has died. Like, that's it. When you're not the beatdown and you're playing more defensively, you're patiently waiting for your opportunity to take tempo. And again, Jordan hit the nail on the head. If you guess wrong, you're at a severe disadvantage. And because this system is lower variance, it actually plays into tempo swings being more prevalent. Because at any point, at any point in time, you're every point in time you're going to be able to play the cards in your hand, and so you have to make a decision if playing the cards in your hand are important. And if they are, you think that you have your pivot point, you think you have your chance. And a lot of times, assessing that is what is the difference between winning and losing, right? So because this is more tempo oriented, thinking about this through a Magic lens, where you have really 4 types of decks: aggro, mid-range, control, tempo, and then combo can be any of those. There can be aggro combo, there can be yada yada yada. Jordan's played mostly control combo and control in his life. That was his thing. I was an aggro combo player most of my life. And in playing combo, it's a go-off turn. And aggro, it's I'm the beatdown. Tell me I'm fucking not. And that is the solution to the problem. In Fab, it's not that though. So I think that the core concepts of the article are great, like Jordan pointed out. I think applying them to Fab is actually more difficult because the article wasn't written for this game.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway from Flores' article, Mike Flores was the guy that wrote the article, by the way, for you non-TCG historians, is misassignment of role equals a game loss. If you want to treat this like it was a penalty guideline, if you misassign yourself your role, you get a game loss. One of the things that came to mind when I was thinking about this question from Mitch was 5 versus 5 mirrors, and limited in particular, because I haven't played the matchup enough in Classic Constructed, is I think a big misunderstanding of that matchup, in that like whether you decide to go first or second, I think the de facto like school of thought is to go second, and I think that's correct because again tempo is huge, and then B, like the onus to block is first on your first opponent. What you have a lot is people rushing past each other. Hey, no blocks, blocking's for nerds, no blocks. And both of you are trying to be the beatdown. And the reason that we see the player that goes first have such a lower win rate than the player that goes second in the 5 mirror is because of that misassignment of roles. And I think that now Phoenix Flame makes that matchup difficult if you go second, just as like a whole thing, right? Like,
yeah,
that is a hard matchup if you go second. And there's nothing about Flores' article that like touches on that. Like sometimes you just have a bad matchup and you can't say, hey, yeah, I'm the beatdown, and then all of a sudden fix it, right? Like sometimes a bad matchup, sometimes you're a dog, right? But I think a lot of the time is in this 5 mirror match, we're both playing 5. We both have 20 cards that say 0 go again. I'm attacking him. And one of the very first examples in Who's the Beatdown is 2 mono red decks in Magic, which are just like 5 decks and Flesh and Blood. And hey, one of them has to be the control. One of them has to do some blocking. And that's difficult in a game like that because of tempo. But like that misassignment of I'm not going to block, you're further compounding the issue that presents itself in the 5-mirror match. Now, am I saying to block in the 5-mirror match? I don't know. Sometimes when you go first, you're just a dog, right? But like, I think that's a classic example that Mitch didn't list of like this 5 versus 5 mirror, and you're both trying to be the aggro, and one of you was wrong.
Yep.
So I didn't answer. We didn't really answer your direct question, but like, hopefully, I gave you some more things to think about.
It's contextual. That's the problem.
Yeah, and it is very much like a do it and then think about these things while you're playing more, and you'll start to soon see it. Of like, man, I did not think about the game this way, and then like that was a big level up moment for me in Magic. Was this article and the turning point? Like I started winning more money when I thought about this article more when I played, and it is different in Fab, but I'm not smart enough to completely parallel it over.
We should call Flores.
There you go.
It's true. We should call Flores.
Yeah. Question number 5 is from Big Lou, and it's, in case we need a lighthearted question, which heroes do you think can or cannot hold their liquor?
There's no fucking way Prism holds her liquor.
No way.
Chain can't either.
No.
What if someone said on our Discord, she's a lightweight?
Yeah.
I think Oldhim, you wouldn't even know he'd been drinking.
all of the Guardians can. Yeah, I think everybody in that class can. I don't think there's one that...
I think Lexi just goes hard, too. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I think, like, Dash, she's been drinking, but, like, it's fine. Like, you're fine with the party turned up to 11.
Yeah, like, with Dash, you're worried about her driving. Yeah, with Dash, you're worried about her driving home, though.
Right. Like, but, like, you're not worried about her, like, throwing up on somebody or starting to fight or blacking out. You're just worried about, like, the party taking too hard of a turn.
Yeah, I think that that Briar is a picky drinker. It's like only the finest gins with the finest botanicals.
My god, yeah. No, he's like, well, it's actually not this. It was not from the region of France. You know,
he's a fucking hipster. Who else is in this group? The ninjas themselves, I'm sure, are all able to zen themselves as drunk as they need to be outside of Benji, who obviously is not of age. They're not even like Benji's not even like German of age.
Do we have any heroes that we think don't drink
outside of Benji?
Yeah, any that like are just like, nah, it's not for me.
I can't see Icelander being a drinker.
I don't think Levia drinks unless it's blood.
Blood, yeah, drinks the blood of her enemies.
I don't see her putting back shots at a bar.
You know, Reinhardt can smash. So
yeah, I don't think Reinhardt can hold it though.
I don't think KO can hold it, but I think Reinhardt can.
Yeah, I think Reinhardt goes and like blows up a town.
You think Reinhardt? Oh, you think Reinhardt's like the frat boy?
Yeah. He like wraps his like wild hog around a telephone pole.
Jesus Christ!
I was gonna say car, and I was like,
no, but the okay.
Stop it.
Nope, I already stopped. It's fine. We are fap talking about Reinhardt's wild hog. Okay. There's got to be somebody else in here that's just like, I don't think Kasai drinks.
Okay, Sir Bolton.
No, Sir Bolton might, like, on the occasional,
he's
a
like
warrior thing
every once in a while. I don't think he's like a liquor person.
Drinks with his guardsmen, you know, kind of get out there, and then a little bit of the personality. Yeah, Chain certainly can't. Oh no, Shiana can 100% hold. Like, it Shiana has to be able to convince whoever that she is what she's appearing to be. So she's got to practice that.
Is Viserai is not a human, right?
Well, Viserai is a human that was then implanted with the fucking Arknight, with the Arknight shard. So
okay,
I don't even know if it would affect Viserai at this point. Clearly, Datadol doesn't drink because it's short circuit Datadol.
Valda can definitely hold it.
Oh, Valda is probably the leader in the clubhouse for being the hero most capable of going toe to toe with Oldhim as far as
Valda
booze.
takes me as the one that she like runs the beer Olympics.
Yeah,
and at like Everfest every year, you know,
is
she's
forced to run them because they have banned her from competition for winning 17 years straight.
Yeah. She like commissions the case races, you know. Yeah.
That seems like her. I don't think Drama is a wine drinker. I think that covers most of them.
Chain like drinks obscure IPAs and smokes the Jarum Blacks.
Like, and then throws up in a dumpster behind the bar. Absolutely.
Oh my god! I used to smoke Jarum Blacks.
Oh, dude, I mean, the crackle was the greatest part, but then like
I just like the sweet smell of the smoke. I mean, it has like there's honestly
meet, like, another person that smokes a Jarum Blacks, and you're like, I gotta stop.
This fits perfectly because there's an AFI song called "Close Smoke Catharsis." So,
okay.
yeah, it all just fits.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think that covers most of us. Kano is obviously a like shot of vodka and let's go. There's no fucking crazy extra dirt martini, extra dirty splash of pickle juice, 4 blue cheese olives drinkers in the Fab Hero group. I'm looking at Elaine right now.
You just combined Elaine and Tommy into a single person.
No, I literally watched Elaine do that. That is something that I watched her order and drink. Just horrifying.
Tell you what, Carolina makes a good mixed drink. Anyway, since we're just like telling stories about people drinking. Anyway, that's my bit.
Let's move on. Question number 6 is from Teeter Dance. Now that a lot of cards come in 3+ versions, normal, foil, whiteboard, or Marvel extended art, so that tracking second cycle becomes easier for those that can do it, at what point should altering cards be considered fine within the community and at events, assuming that the card name, pitch, power, defense, and effect are also readable?
I think it's always been fine.
I think it's always been fine to the point that they're not identifiable in the deck. Sure. I think that like I don't actually care about
like identifiable, like you can't cut to them. Like
right. Yeah, like when you paint on a card, it gets thicker, and like that can show up in a sleeve. But like outside of that, like it's totally fine with me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's totally understandable at this point in time, and obviously the big brain part of this is if they're playing a belittle deck, they shuffle their decks. They'll never know their second cycle anyway.
Yeah, and if they're not playing a belittle deck, you probably already won.
Right.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at right now.
All right, and then question number 7 is from Keith. If your favorite superhero and supervillain combo were made into Fab Heroes, who would they be? What would their class talent be? Use current ones to avoid complicating this. And what would their ability text be?
Am I the biggest nerd on this show? I'm pretty sure I'm the biggest nerd on this show.
It's funny. I had looked up different villains. I had only thought, because I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately.
Just got a post note.
Yeah, one of my favorite villains is
I haven't finished it, but I wrote them down.
Curious, because Abby and I watched an episode of Doctor Who together the other day, so I'm curious to see if she chose the Weeping Angels as a villain. You did not? Okay, good. Because if you did, I don't want to steal it.
They are the best.
Yeah.
The best one in the show.
They're the best Doctor Who villain, for sure. I think like the Weeping Angels would like make it so like you have to take a turn off, but then like so do they. And so maybe like I don't know what this was kind of something that I thought would be cool is like at one of the things, if you don't know a Doctor Who stan like I am, the Weeping Angels basically are these like stone statues that you would see outside of like, old buildings, and if they touch you, they send you back in time, right? But they can't move when you can see them. When any living thing sees them, they turn to stone. So you don't blink when you look at them, or they'll send you back into time, right? I think so. Some ability that, hey, you're frozen because you can't look at them. It like freezes maybe like your hero ability, or like freezes your ability to only play one card the next turn. And then because it has to have a massive drawback though, because I think that ability is pretty good. If it's just like, hey, you don't get a turn, your turn would have to be something similar where you had to take a turn off or whatever. So I don't know what that looks like. Like maybe you can only use your equipment or something, or but something along those lines of like you don't get a turn, but I don't get a turn because we both have to stop when we're looking at each other.
Sure.
Yeah, not very good. but I don't know. There's something there, but I just don't know enough about it. Like, again, terrible game design. So
yeah. Abby's got them written down. You want me to go?
You can go.
Okay, so my favorite hero is Gambit. Comic book hero.
okay.
So I would have something along the lines of the ability to be charge the card, throw the card. So you'd pitch. It'd be similar to Dash's ability to load or gun and shoot it.
Okay.
Because his mutant ability is to transfer kinetic energy into an object, and then it explodes on contact with anything else, or explodes after a period of time. And he uses on playing cards, and then chucks playing cards at people, and then they explode, and yeah, it does a thing. So I don't know what class I would have him be. It sounds Runebladey, but
It does sound Runebladey.
And then my favorite villain is so fucking hard because my favorite villain is Mr. Sinister. And Mr. Sinister's villainy is he's basically a horrible a villainous geneticist that is genetically kept modifying himself with mutated genes to make himself into an invulnerable-ish person that can shapeshift and a bunch of other things. So he'd be like an evil shapeshifter and be able to use other classes cards and such, but also be able to modify things. I just don't know how that would ever work. But yeah, if you want to read, because like I want my villains to be, I don't like sympathetic. I love sympathetic villains like Magneto, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, like I don't like. There's a lot of Magneto wasn't wrong. Humans are shit, and so he's kind of got that on lock. But so there's no redeeming qualities of Nathaniel Essex. Like Mr. Sinister is just shitty, and he does horrible fucking things at his own whim, and it's true villainy. Which is why I like him as a villain. He's layered, but the layers are all just still evil as fuck. So, I think that's. I mean, it's hard to do, but I would just still call him a shapeshifter or use Apocalypse. He does the same things. As far as being able to shapeshift and stuff like that, but he's more like elongating or morphing parts of his body, and Sinister just uses himself as a test subject half the time because reasons. He became obsessed with the Summers family because of their superior genetic makeup to literally to fuck with Apocalypse, if I remember right, because there's a certain part of the Summers genetic code that makes it so that they actually harm Apocalypse. So he basically genetically engineered Cyclops by forcing his parents together and doing all kinds of crazy shit because that's what Sinister does.
Shit. Okay.
Super fucked up. Super fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
All right. So mine is Thor and Loki. Thor is my favorite superhero. He would be a guardian, obviously.
Verily.
Sure.
My thought is like he would be like a lightning guardian, and then like he uses the hammer, and if you play a lightning card, you can call it back, and then use it again. Is what I would think.
That's not bad.
Oh yeah, like a rebound kind of thing.
Yeah.
Toss the hammer.
Loki would be a shapeshifter, obviously.
Yeah, and a dick.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Does dick things. Oh, that's pretty good.
Easy peasy.
I mean, so what is it? Is it movie Thor that got you into Thor, or is it comic book Thor that got you into Thor?
It's movie Thor. I am not a superhero comic book person.
That's fair. Like, not everybody is. So
I have read a couple comics, but none of them have been like. Was it nine bullets? Is that the one I really liked?
Oh,
yeah.
The 100 bullets.
100 bullets.
100 bullets. Yeah.
Brian Azzarello.
That's the only one I've read comic book that I've read all the way through.
It's really good though.
It is very good.
Such a cool concept.
Yeah. You should try Wanted at some point. Because you guys have started The Boys, right?
We're 2 episodes in. I think Abby's out on The Boys.
I don't know, guys. I am not impressed so far, guys.
It is not for everyone.
It's fine. I don't know. It has not spoken to me yet.
I think that means you're a more well-adjusted human than the rest of us. I think that's all that means.
Well,
personal opinion.
Could be. All right. Here we go. We are going to give a shout out to our Patreon. So we have executive producers and up. So we have Taylor A, Ed M, Josh L, Kenny, Nick D, Ricky, Teague W, Ben M, Corey S, Alan B, and Michael B. If you have not signed up for our Patreon yet, but you are interested, please sign up by the 31st. That gets you in for the first month. Is that correct?
Wave?
First wave. There we go. So you'll be an OG.
Yeah.
Yes.
Strictly for the OGs.
That's right. The link it is patreon.com/fleshandpod. We will also have the link in the show notes. Do not feel obligated at all. We will love you regardless. But if you do want to, that is where you can find it.
Yeah.
Anyone else before I go into the rest of closing?
Nope.
Okay. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FlushPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. The tweet streak is still going. I have tweeted more this week than I think ever. So we're moving up, folks. Also, hammock update for everybody. I got a cover for it, and I have gotten to use it this weekend, so we are good on that.
Nice.
It's been
And you had great. F1 at the pole, right? You had a Ferrari at the pole?
Yeah, listen, Ferrari... Oh, God. So Ferrari did take pole, but...
wrecked out.
Poor driving. They wrecked out. He was driving away with the lead. Literally, was nothing that anybody could do. He just oversteered it. Put it right into a wall, and then Ferrari has the worst team management in the history of the world.
It's so
bad. And they
pitted
their second driver with 10 laps ago.
He made he got to third, right?
He started at the back because his engine blew up last week.
Yes.
And then so he's exceeded his number of engine usage. Had to start in 19th out of 20. Got to third, and then they were like, "Hey, actually, why don't you just come in and pit?" And
then he finished 5th. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Because they were in Ferrari.
Yeah, they were like, "We think everyone's gonna pit," which, like, at that point, you just watch, right? You can make that call when they're going in. But it was so. I mean, it was so bad.
Wow.
Terrible.
Sorry, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't mean to bring it up, and
pole is really exciting. Charles Leclerc is like a great qualifier, but Ferrari is just. We have equipment. The power unit's bad. The equipment's bad. Team management's bad. Drivers are great. Love the drivers.
Yeah. You support some of the weirdest fucking things sometimes.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Logan?
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Logan Peterson, tweeting almost exclusively Flesh and Blood or within the Flesh and Blood community. Also, just our Discord. It will be linked in the show notes. I am ever present in the Discord doing Discord things. Replying to messages, having conversations with our Discords, our Discordians. What do you call people in your Discord? Discordants?
Discord community
best
members.
Friends.
That's so fucking long. Okay, best friends.
You're looking for like a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I mean they're friends. I don't know. Best friends is such a weird fucking term. I mean, isn't everybody your best friend, really? I mean, if they're your friend, they deserve to all your love and support, right? Like, isn't that how that works? The mic's off. All right.
Yeah, you're doing a bit, and I'm not sure anymore.
I'm not doing a bit. This is fucking serious. I'm asking a question.
Let's go with Discordians.
Discordians is good. I'm good with Discordians. So, interacting with our Discordians about everything, booze, food, music, just the existential dread of living in a stupid fucking society. There's a whole lot. But yeah, I'll interact with all of it because these are things that bring me joy and or emotional despair. Jordan?
Hey, yeah, find me on Twitter at I'm Jermaine on Twitter. On Twitter at I'm Jermaine on Twitter. Good sentence.
Perfect sentence.
Tweeting a lot about Flesh and Blood, tweeting a lot about sports and U.S. politics and just nonsense in general. So softball season's about to start up for me. So surely you'll see some stat lines from me on there. If you don't get on base like 90% of the time in softball, you suck. So need to do that. But otherwise, Discord is the best way to get a hold of me. Like Logan, my DMs are open to people that I share a server with. So if you're in the Flesh and Pod server, hit me up. I'm pretty responsive on there. I keep it open like all day. So it's the best way to get a hold of me. And that's what's going on. Ab?
There you go. We also haven't really talked about it yet. Well, we talked about it when it was announced, but we'll start bringing it back up again. SCG Con Columbus is Labor Day weekend, so the beginning of September. Jordan and I will obviously be there. So let us know if you're coming. Logan, you're coming, right?
We will have, yes, we will have the entirety of the FAP.
Good.
And a lot of the FAP extended family too. So
it should be a big weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So please come, and if you're going to, if you're going to be in Columbus for that weekend, let us know. We'll be planning and doing shit, and we'd love to meet the people. We'll have a lot of the East Coast people, Pennsylvania. I think Tommy's coming from New Jersey. We'll have some of the other kids coming. I believe Flake is still planning on coming. So it should be a good time. It'll be a lot of fun regardless. And we'll see if I'm sober enough to perform in a Battle Hardened.
There we go. So I'm sure we'll talk about it more as it gets closer, but I did want to remind people because it is starting to get in the realm of like, you got to make your decision and get everything
soon.
So, there we go. That is all we have for this week. So we will talk to you next week. Bye.